this program.
It is now that part of the program when we shall
Unbox, 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 unbox.
What's inside the box? Peace, everyone. Thanks again for coming to check out Brick Something, Unbox Something. Today we're going to take a look at something from that pile of loot that I showed y'all last time. Yeah, we're talking about Berenice from the Combatants Fight For Glory toy line, aka the red one. Let's focus on the toy and this will make a little bit more sense. This right here, my toy enthusiast friends, is Berenice, also known as the Macedonian Spear from the Combatants Fight For Glory line, by the good folks over at Xesray Studios. Ah, look at that dope photo. Berenice is looking nice. Again, awesome photo. A bit more about the character. Let's see what we got going on here. You got Berenice, nicknamed the Macedonian Spear, her ethic. Wah, 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 wah. I think they're trying to say ethnicity. She's Greek. From the city of Pompeii, and apparently there's a group affiliation. I'll tell you right now, don't know anything about the lore, the story behind any of this. I have heard someone try and read some of these. I don't think this was the one in particular, but there have been some really fascinating stories behind these things. No offense, but I'm here for the toy. Saw some folks talking about this online a while back, and I only have one. So when I went ahead and grabbed that figure, by no means was I trying to collect a whole other line. I was really curious because the sculpt looked cool. The reviews I saw were pretty good. So I figured, what the hell? Check it out. Liked it a lot, but honestly, I could have just sort of walked away from the whole line, been like, okay, one's enough, all good. But then the next wave of these started showing up. Game over. In this wave, there's 3 badass women fighters that came out. They each had their own sort of unique colorway, each with their own complexions. There's definitely some melanin creeping up in this line. And I was like, yeah, definitely hits all the right notes for me and what I want on my shelf. So here we are. So let's check out Berenice. All right, quick first impressions. The sculpt on this is really good. And if you're a toy collector, you know how it is. Things look fine on online photos, but when you open them up, man, that's when you really know what you've got. And I'm looking at this thing right now, and damn, it's nice. Let me go ahead and just pull this out. Not particularly into the whole Roman soldier thing, but I appreciate the paint on this thing. The idea of kind of like a red and gold armor. This plume on this thing is just really well sculpted. Take a look at that. And normally I'm a little bit iffy on removable helmets, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling good about this one. It's a cool, soft plastic as one would expect, but a little bit harder here on the sort of plumage. And it looks like that might fit well. I'd be a little bit worried about paint rub, but I don't know. We'll see. We've got different hands, bare feet, which I think is actually the way I want to go. Not a big sandals person. There's something kind of cool and rough and tumble about a barefoot warrior. Thank you, Xesray, for not making me deal with little twisty ties. Let's check her out from head to toe. Really solid figure. That hair sculpt is really cool. There's something a little bit funky about these bangs. But there's a reason for this to be looking this way, and we will take a look at that later. It's pretty cool. I mean, she's just really well painted. You know I'm a huge Mythic Legions fan, and to me, as far as the quality that we're getting in these are right up there. Head to toe painting, super strong looking. I love the overall sculpt of this thing, the shape of this buck. She's got some good strong curves. Like, she looks super duper healthy, powerful. And an interesting thing about this is you'll see her sort of armor. Her upper torso can move inside that armor. I mean, you don't really have that in other lines. So it does look like most of this is removable. That comes off. I think even this comes off. Man, they sculpted effectively 1, 2, 3, and 4 fantastic faces for this figure. Oh my god, just so much artistry. Look at the sculpt on that knee or this boot. Amazing. And you can kind of see where it fits in there. It actually, like, that is really cool to me, right? And oh, it's a little bit flexible. I could see other companies just sort of trying to mold that so that it's one piece or something, but not really being able to see sort of that detail where it actually looks like she's wearing a boot. Very cool. Well, I guess it's not a boot, but you know, you get the idea. Check out those knee joints. Those are a trip. You can see the construction, right? It's a double knee. I don't know. I really like the way that that looks, even though I know I'm sort of seeing like the functionality of the figure and the construction, but it's kind of cool. Check out the double knee action. Man, sorry, this is a bit unfocused. I know. I'm just kind of blown away by this figure right now. It's about as good as I expected. It's better, actually. But let's sort of just pose her. Great flexible joints. Nothing too tight, nothing too loose. This might be a little bit loose. I mean, it's kind of buttery. It doesn't feel like loose, like it's going to fall. But you can kind of see there. Let me go and do the articulation. You can see she's built so that she can move. We do have a single elbow with a pivot, and it does pretty good range, right? It's not a double elbow. You've got the wrists, which you can do their thing, as one would expect. Same here. The first thing I'm going to want to do is get rid of these sandals. Not really my thing. I'm more into the idea of a sort of a barefoot, kind of Amazonian warrior. And then, I don't know, I might switch out a hand. I don't know. We'll see. And I definitely want to play with this hair. But I really want to heat this one up. I'm still kind of new. This is only my second Xesray figure that I'm pulling out. So better safe than sorry. All right, let's see what's going on with this figure. Just in terms of movement, she feels really good. Nothing too tight. Nothing really loose. These are definitely soft, but not like, you know, super loose or anything. I do wonder if they'd get a little too loose over time. They are, you know, a little bit thinner. These arms are a little bit thinner. And these joints definitely are tiny. So who knows? As far as the arms go, we've got basically a 90 degree on this single jointed elbow. The hands do as you'd expect. The top half of the body, or the torso, is separate from this actual armor. So you can kind of see it kind of moves inside there. These shoulder joints are really cool. They're built on that ball underneath there. It does look a little bit weird if you're really not into seeing how figures are put together. But the head is what you'd expect from a figure like this, right? It's on a ball, moves around. As far as looking up, oh, well, there you go. That's what I was going to show you later, is that you can actually remove this piece. I personally think she looks amazing like this. I dig the slicked hair, and I'm really glad that they gave you that option, right? So she still looks good this way. She doesn't look odd or freakish, like with a hole in her head or something. This is almost just essentially like a helmet, right? And it kind of plops right on. Looks pretty good. Boom. So there's that. Braids built in. Nice thick braid. Love it. You get some movement. She can't look up a whole lot. The neck is sort of molded with this torso, so it really is just about that joint in the head, that ball joint in the head. But decent movement. Obviously the armor is going to get in the way, but I love that armor, so it's staying right there. I pretty much love everything about this figure as is, except for that hair, so I kind of prefer her this way. And then these. And I did try a little bit ago to heat her up for the instructions. I still had a little bit of a hard time getting these sandals off. Personally, I would prefer to put on the bare feet. I think that's a much cooler look. But I'll be honest with you, it wasn't coming off even with heat, and I didn't want to ruin it. I'm scared. So if you have a Xesray and you've done it, and you can maybe help gas me up and make me feel good about it, that would be great. Would appreciate it, actually. But let's just take a look at what's going on here with the articulation on the legs. You do have a double jointed knee. It's not like she's going to go kick in the back of her butt with her heels or anything, but that's what you get. It's got this ball joint just like the shoulder there. You can kind of see. I appreciate these real like thick thighs. I think she looks really great. Just like I wouldn't want to get kicked by this woman. She looks super strong. The ankles got some pretty good movement, as you can see there. But overall, really flexible, really cool. Yeah, the flexibility is pretty amazing, right? You can kind of see. Got a little bit of a twist there in the torso. I don't know. This is a pretty impressive figure. Let's see what else she comes with. She's got this cool sword. Look at that handle. That's pretty brutal. I've got a spear here. Come on. Get the shield out first. Very cool, sort of scalloped shield. I love that. Spear looks great. She is known as the Macedonian spear, so she probably knows how to use this thing, right? I will tell you, just as I've been playing, I feel like this thing is already a little bit loose, which is kind of disappointing. Thin arms. I guess that's what happens. It doesn't have to happen, but that's what's happening with this one. Let's see. I like the idea of her pulling her hair back into a tight braid for combat. Just feels more effective. Keep the hair out of your face. That head sculpt is fantastic. I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about not so great head sculpts, but I gotta say this one is really, really good. And the paint job definitely does the sculpt justice. Okay, sword in hand. All right, I also love the fact that they gave us this to store her sword. But it's odd because I tried slipping this into its holder, but as you can see, there's a little bit of resistance. And it just... that opening is not working, which... it's a huge bummer. That just doesn't make any sense. There's no way that this is fitting in there. So that's kind of crappy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's clearly like the first real flaw that I'm seeing. The second might be this thing. That's bugging me that comes off so much. Nothing a little bit of glue maybe can't fix, but a bit of a bummer. Everything else, though, super happy. Again, I think she's just really great looking. Can she stand up on her own? Let's see. A toe joint probably would have been pretty cool for some of the things I'm trying to do with this, but it's pretty cool so far. All right, so that hand came off no problem. And you can kind of see it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little peg. There was no resistance on that at all. So it's just the feet. And I have a feeling it's the angle I'm trying to do on the feet. All right, so earlier I was saying that this felt a little bit loose, but maybe not too bad. Well, I think it might be a little bad. because the weight of this shield will not stay up. Check that out. That's no good. I do have some of that stuff to help stiffen that joint a little bit, but since we are taking a look at this thing, and fair to just sort of show you what I'm going through. Check it out. She won't stay up. I mean, that's got to be a heavy shield, but so that's a thing. Whew. That's pretty bad, actually. That's where we're at. Keeping it 100. So she can't hold up her shield. At least mine can't. Oh, that's pretty bad. And you can kind of see, the gaps in that joint, right? That's not a good look. Last accessory that I haven't really put on yet is this, and that's again why you take off that hair so that you can put this helmet right on. She looks pretty badass with that helmet on. Huh. You can probably tell I'm not nearly as enthused about this as I would have wanted to be. Just it's a little bit finicky, even though I'm super excited that they did make some dope women figures. I'm a little bummed on the tightness or lack of tightness on these joints. I feel like some of those AEW wrestling figures I got are built a little bit stronger than this. They're definitely cheaper when it comes to the lack of paint, but this right here, that's like, oof, that's bumming me out. Otherwise, I mean, the poses I can get her in are great. I guess now I just have to worry if she can hold them and how long she's going to be able to just sort of stand up on my shelf. I really, really wanted to like her a lot. I'm just excited that they went ahead and made a dope female buck. I think she's an amazing looking character. I love the armor. I love everything. That joint's really bummed me out. So, can't win them all, I guess. Again, these figures were not cheap. So, I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to make a call yourself. That said, there's one last thing I definitely want to do, and that's compare her to some other figures. So there's Berenice. Here she is next to a Marvel Legends Nakia, Mythic Legions, an AEW character. Got a Storm Collectibles Golden Axe figure. That's a group of mighty women. Here's Berenice with Ambillus. Two Combatants Fight For Glory that I've unboxed. I still have 4 more in boxes, and we'll sort of see how that goes. There's a Masterverse Skeltor. 1 more Mythic Legions. Yeah, I could definitely see her going up against these guys and giving them a run for their money. So really, I'm kind of torn. On the one hand, I think visually she's an amazing figure. There's just something with this figure. It's a little bit clumsy the way she's sort of unable to hold herself up sometimes. The arms, the elbow joints are really a bummer. Here, for example, this thing right here, Marvel Legends, super tight. That's not going anywhere. I'm pushing. And this thing is actually thinner. So I'm not sure what's going on, Xesray. I want to love you. I want to love what you're putting out, but that was pretty disappointing, gotta say. There's things going on in this sculpt that are just pretty fascinating. But the sort of finicky joints, the fact that I had a little bit of a hard time taking off the feet and just having to worry if I'm going to break my figure. The fact that I couldn't get her sword to get into this really cool thing that they bothered to sculpt on her. I don't know. Overall, a little bit disappointed, especially when you consider how much these things are. I do have 2 more women to open up. But hey, I gotta tell you, I was kind of happier when I opened this figure up, which is like a third of the cost of that Xesray. These joints are great. They're not pinless, but they're also not going to fall if she has something in her hand. I don't know. It's a toss-up. You win some, you lose some. So I'm going to have to sort of figure it out. I'll tell you right now, I'm walking out of this Unbox Something not super enthused. I think she looks really good, but there are obviously those other things that kind of are dragging it down a little bit. Oh well. So clearly there's a lot of great things to say about this figure, but there's also some things that we need to address. This loose joint, not cool. The fact that she feels a little bit fragile makes me wonder why I paid so much. Head to toe, she looks fantastic. Design-wise, can't complain about a single thing. Everything on here is amazing. So, life is complicated, folks. And so is Berenice. I guess the fight for glory continues. We'll find out when I check out those other two. Either way, I hope you saw something in here interesting. Tell me what you think from what you saw here. Tell me if you've got this figure and you think it's better than I've shown it. And hey, tell me if you appreciate getting a real honest reaction to a figure. Happens, right? All right. With that, Berenice. Peace. And once again, thank you for hanging out with me and checking out the videos here on Brick Something. Please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. If you're looking for even more of a toy fix right now, see the link to the left to check out a fellow member of the Legion of Lesser Toy Tubers. Gracias por ver este video. Salamat sa inyong lahat. And as always, peace and power.